The seagulls follow trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much.
Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Talking nonsense. So I thought, no, enough's enough. Why should I put up with that? Don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go. Let's have a wee Celtic Sunday blether with the one and only Reegan Stevenson. How you doing, my boy?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you again for having me on. And it's good to be on a Sunday after a fantastic Celtic win.
Big time, mate. You know it. It's great to have you on, Reegan. We're going to try and make this a wee regular thing on a Sunday, aren't we? So
Yep.
we've worked out that even if Celtic are playing the lunchtime kick-off, we're going to force each other to get up off our arses and out of bed early, and we'll maybe try and bring you a morning show some Sundays, and if not, it'll be around sort of brunch time, 12, 1 o'clock, well, 1:45 in this case today, but you know what I mean, early afternoon, and we're going to get Reegan on. This is going to be his gig basically on the Sunday. We might even look into getting Reegan to hosting it in the future and maybe get some different guests on with him as well. Loads of exciting plans. But this was very much the Sunday blether, is to get Reegan's thoughts on the week that's been. As much as everyone will be bored to death of all of mine. They've heard me for the last 3 days in a row. They're like, no, him again. What is he doing on the screens again? But it's been such an incredible 7 days, Reegan, in the race for, they call it the bread and butter. I think this year we could almost call it the Holy Grail after where we were last year, and that is the league title. How excited are you now, knowing what you now know? I know you were there yesterday, and we'll be getting your thoughts on yesterday in a wee bit more depth later on. But just looking back over the week that was, taking Ibrox into account, taking yesterday's magnificent 7 into account, how much has your confidence grown, Reegan, in the past 7 days for this title tilt?
My confidence is growing, Russell, because I feel Celtic have got a real sustainable model. I think what Ange is doing is proving that we've got such a good team now, and I think yesterday just showing that. You know, Ange said on Friday, as was said yesterday, he said to a reporter that if anyone is lacking, then they're not going to be here, and I think that was proven yesterday. When you look at someone like Matt O'Reilly, who was absolutely sensational when he came on, scored a great goal, and for Celtic to stretch that goal difference as well. I don't know what the Rangers score is at the moment. It was 3-0 when I checked it, but
3-0 when I listened as well.
I mean, you need to say that 7-0 was a great scoreline to take into a big next few weeks against our Glasgow rivals.
Totally, mate. And I think you're absolutely right. I think Ange, he's not just giving sound bites at these media conferences anymore, is he, Reegan? It's genuinely the truth that he's saying. And I wonder if it was his way of publicly reminding the players of their responsibilities as well. Not because anyone's done anything untoward or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that. But what I think he was doing was just a polite, shall we say, public reminder that nothing's won yet. And any of you who think you're going to get carried away with that result last week, forget it. Because what was it he said? He says, you'll be left behind. I thought that was very, very clever. Celtic left Rangers behind last week at Ibrox. And I want your thoughts now on the impact of that one, first and foremost, before we get to yesterday, because we've not caught up since.
Yeah, I do like Jonathan's analogy of it was a KO. And I do like that because I feel that as much as Rangers are getting a 3-0 win against them at the moment, it basically means nothing because if Celtic beat them in the semi-final and they take something from the Celtic Park game, a draw at the worst, then the league title for me is over, and it is well truly over at this precise moment. I think what it shows as well, Russell, is it shows how well Ange has done. You know, what he's done shouldn't be overlooked in terms of where Celtic were last year. But I want to also pay tribute to the Celtic fans yesterday. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. And as much as we talk about the players need to deliver, I think see at these business end of the season, it's important that Celtic fans buy into it, and also the importance of I think there was basically a sellout there yesterday, and that'll drive the players on as well. Because I'm telling you right now, if Celtic went into that game yesterday and there was 40-odd thousand, I don't think we will win the game in the manner we do. I think the supporters play a vital role in that as well, Russell.
I think it's a brilliant point, Reegan. I'll tell you why. Last year we didn't have any supporters. Last year we didn't have any. And I think it did have. It's not the reason Celtic didn't win the league. I've never hidden behind excuses such as that. It's not my style. But it played a factor. It was a factor.
Yeah, it definitely did. It definitely did. I mean, I said to you in February time, if Celtic stay with the fans in the stadium for the rest of the season, they will go on and win the league. And I totally buy into that. As much as people like to use that against Neil Lennon, I think what he was saying was basically spot on, to be honest, because you look at it, even Ange Postecoglou said that football was nothing without fans. So, and he said that in the Boxing Day game when they had 500 supporters, Russell. So
Totally.
I think it just shows you the impact that the fans can have. And as much as we're playing St Johnstone and they're at the bottom of the table, if you've got 60,000 there, that puts pressure on St Johnstone right away because they've got 60,000 shouting ball at them, and that'll have a good impact on them as well.
Yep. I think you're absolutely spot on with everything you're saying there, Reegan. I mean, I think Neil Lennon, I think the way he's did his rant really went, I guess I don't want to cover old ground too much, but reflecting on it, I think there was a hell of a lot of truth in what he was saying, right? I agree with that. I think his delivery let him down. The fact he was looking like crying when he's getting beat sort of thing. At no point when Celtic were getting good results was he alluding to the fact it'd be better if there was fans there. I think it did look a wee bit sour grapes from Lennon, and I think a lot of that is to do with delivery, how you deliver your message. Ange Postecoglou, I think, is more scathing in the reporters than Neil Lennon is. But sorry, go on.
See, the biggest difference for me is I don't think if Ange is in a position of no stadiums, he will constantly bang on about fans not being there, everything being wrong, the culture of the club being wrong. I think Ange will probably try and get on with it. I don't think he would bang on with it every single week. I think that's what Neil Lennon did. He spoke about fans being fickle and this is the culture. I don't think Ange would even buy into that or talk about that or even speak to a reporter the way that Neil Lennon spoke to the reporters either.
Well, it's funny because Ange is scathing with the reporters, though, Reegan. I mean, he's put downs like to Kenny McIntyre. If you look at it, And I think this is why we love Ange, because he does he does it so well. But when you think about it, he literally accused Kenny McIntyre of not wanting Celtic to win. That is literally what he says. It's maybe unfortunate if the result didn't go the way you wanted, mate. I mean, if Neil Lennon said that, the problem would be he would say it as, you wanted Celtic to get beat, Kilkenny, didn't you? And you hate Celtic. And that, my accent was terrible. But like he would be like roaring, accusing them of bias, whereas Ange very succinctly just says, well, it would be like that if the result didn't go the way you wanted, mate. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, what Ange does very well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but he also, like, as much as the journalist he probably annoys the journalists, some of the journalists like him very much as well, Russell, because if you look at Ange and the way that he does his messages in the media, he delivers it in a manner that people enjoy to enjoy to have banter with him as well, Russell. I don't know what happened to you there, mate, but
That's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about that. I've got a dog to look after, mate. So just a wee bit. I might have to do that a couple of times. I'm just checking on them. That's all.
No problem,
so don't worry. If I'm still there, I've got the headset still on. So don't worry.
No problem.
Lanky's came in. I've got to bring up the comics. He says no impressions again. I'll have you know, Lanky, I got quite a few DMs about my Dennis Law impression saying it was brilliant. But I appreciate the fact that Neil Lennon one there a minute ago was absolutely awful. Now, just before we gush more about Ange Postecoglou and how amazing a week it's been for Celtic and what a season it's looking like, we've got to bring up the main man, Ian at Green and White 1. Now, Reegan, look very closely at that profile picture. What's he wearing?
He's wearing a Bhoycie bus teacher.
Hey!
Yes.
Ian at Green and White 1 has bought not one, but two of the Bhoycie Bus t-shirts. And he has got the one that says, don't back down.
Double down.
Hey! So, for that, Ian, it is a massive thank you, mate,
Yes,
from yourself. Top man,
Yes,
mate.
Ian.
By the way, that green t-shirt with the don't back down, double down, looked, I don't know if you've got a better tan than me, Ian, but that looks quality on you, mate, as well. So, well done. Thank you for doing that. Now, we have to thank as well, when we're talking about the t-shirts, the contribution of fanboyfootball.com. That's where you can buy the merchandise. And right now, we've started pretty humbly with just 3 t-shirts, 2 with the sort of pretty green sort of design. I stole it from the idea. And then one, of course, where the slogan of the year, don't back down, double down. Now, it has been brilliant to be able to sell t-shirts. We're only 4 months old. If you knew, Reegan, we've went for the best quality material we could use, fanboyfootball.com. I promise you that. Everyone will tell you when they've got it. And then the other thing is I'm paying for the postage for every single one, which should have been £5 a pop. I'm covering that. So,
I mean, that's fantastic for people as well, because, like you said, I mean, the buzzing, the people that tune into this are from Dublin. I mean, there's people from Australia as well, Russell. So
I know.
I mean, it's brilliant to see so many people from so many places that enjoy the content, mate.
I know. It's absolutely amazing. I'm buzzing with it, mate. And the thing is, it's not about trying to make a quick buck off it or anything like that. Trust me, if you've seen, once I take the postage out and then you pay for the materials, what we're making, it is pennies, right? So it's not about that. I just love the idea of going to Celtic Park one day and imagine seeing someone in one of those t-shirts. That's the dream, man. That's the dream. And we can all dream. Anyway, we'd like to get all that stuff out the road because I don't really like pushing it. But there is 50 watching live right now. Not bad for a wee impromptu Sunday Blether, Reegan. Now, if there's 50 people watching live, as long as you are enjoying the show right enough, hit the like button and keep the algorithms going so more people will pop up in their news feeds on YouTube and stuff like that as a suggested video. Alfred Nobel joins us. Yes, mate. I've had a beer with Alf before, as have you, Reegan. We met him in, remember we met him, what pub was it in Glasgow? I can't remember.
And I think it was the Prince Charlie next to
That's it.
Park.
It was Prince Charlie, mate. Spot on. My memory's terrible, mate. My memory is terrible. Hey, that was a great night. What Liam Cole wants to know, what is this on a Sunday? Mate, Reegan Stevenson'S hijacked the bus. He's demanded he does every Sunday from now on. I think he's going to start hosting it from next week. I've just spun this on him. But this could be the best bus of them all. It'll be brilliant. So, go on, mate.
I said it's going to be very good. So I hope people can definitely watch and tune in and subscribe and like the podcast as well, because I did see this week that the bus has smashed 2,000 subscribers for being 4 months in, Russell. I mean, that is just fantastic. Fantastic, mate.
I love it, man. I just love it. Do you know what the thing is? It's just what the beauty of doing this is. It's just keeping it real. Just be real. Be yourself. Come on the bus, rip the piss at my impressions, my hair. I don't care. As long as it's all within the parameters of banter, I'm all for it. There'll be no ITK, no pretending we're someone we're not, no rip-offs of sports scene on here. It'll be honest football chat, and let's get back to that, because he was magnificent. It wasn't just a magnificent 7 yesterday. In fact, he delivered my paper this morning, Reegan. Maeda! Let's talk about him, mate, because you were there yesterday. You've given plenty of praise to the fans, and of course, that's totally warranted, and where would we be without them? I get that. Let's now focus our attention on the pitch. Maeda got man of the match. There was probably notable other nominations for it, such was the strength of the team performance. But I want to focus a wee bit on Maeda. I thought he was absolutely sensational yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably still pressing somebody down the London Road at the minute, or so. I mean, it was fantastic the way he just gets involved in so much. I mean, see the ball he plays to. I think he runs on to it when Maeda scores as well. I mean, he's been fantastic. And I'm going to say something as well. I don't think we won. I don't think Celtic win that game last week against Rangers. I mean, see the way that he pressed the full game up against Tavernier, up against Conor Golson. I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. And yesterday, I'm so glad that he scored as well, because I know people slag him because he scores the most stupid goals in the world, but he always tries his best. He runs the channels so well.
You talking about me? I think it's me who slags him for that, isn't it?
No, mate, it's not you. But I'm just saying that what Maeda does is so important, and that's why I think January's been such a big month for us, Russell. Because if you look at Maeda, you look at Rio, and you look at Matt as well. I mean, Matt comes on and scores 2 goals as well. But in terms of Maeda, I just think you can see everybody in the club. I think they just love to be around him as well, and that's what you need in this time of the season. And for I think for McGregor as well, he'll just be so happy that he's got so many players in there that he can rely on, that are just wanting to buy into Celtic so much.
Have a wee read of that, Reegan. That's good, eh? Dyson Maeda instead of Daisy. I like that.
Yeah, that is good.
Hoovering up every blade of grass in a stadium.
Well done, mate. Well done for that.
That's good part of that. Well played, mate. And did anyone see Maeda win the Grand National as well after yesterday's game? I wouldn't put it past him. On a serious note, I think we've got to say Ange Postecoglou wants a profile of player, Reegan. I've been banging this drum for a couple of weeks now. I think Kyogo is brought in because he fits the profile, the type of player Ange wants now. I don't mean in terms of physique. What I mean is in terms of pace and pressing, work rate, attitude. These are the things that he's looking for in his team. Obviously you need to have notable exceptions like Tom Rogic who play in slippers. And I think getting that balance is okay if you've got enough like-minded players in the mould Ange wants. And what I mean by that is he wants guys, we talk about the don't stop attitude, and it's a really easy go-to sort of debate point, but I believe there's so much truth in that when it comes to the type of player the Postecoglou is looking for. Maeda, to me, is the definition of what Ange wants from his players. Maeda's work rate, his example that he's setting from the front as well. It encourages, it inspires those around you to run that extra half yard as well. It sets a tone. And you know what? I think I was saying yesterday during the fan cam live, I mean, it's sometimes his final ball and his end product isn't always the best, Reegan, right? Sometimes his first touch isn't the easiest on the eye. But See the numerous times he's going to get in the right position, the numerous times he's going to find himself with time to put on a cross. The law of averages mean he will end up with a high goal tally and a high assist tally, particularly with a full season at Celtic. You'll be expecting him in double figures for both next year. Now, I remember we had a player called Didier Agat. I know you'd have been young when Agat played, but I know you know your Celtic, mate. So Didier Agat, at times, was devastatingly good. And I mean in the Champions League. I mean, I remember him playing where we got beat 3-2 off Juventus, and he was incredible. I think it was at was it called the Dele Alpi? And you watched him going up and down the wing. I think it was Ambrose at left back or Pasotto, one of the something like that anyway. And he literally, they just couldn't live with him. But he was getting that many times to the byline, Reegan. Okay, you could say he could have had 10 assists, but before a ball's kicked, if you get a player that can put in, if you say, right, you're playing on the wing, get me an assist today, you're happy with that. And the law of averages meant that despite Agat's final ball being questionable at times, he was in the position so many times, such was his work rate, his effort, and blinding pace, that the law of averages meant one of them is going to go on Henrik or Chris Sutton's head. And I think with Maeda, you're seeing the law of averages is going to be very good with him because of his relentless effort, Reegan. He's been a joy to watch for me.
Yeah, and I mean, the big thing for me is he's a team player as well, Russell. I don't think he really cares if he scores the goal. I think he just cares if he threads the ball through to someone and he scores a goal. And don't forget, this is a guy that has played a full season in Japan as well, Russell. I mean, it just looks as if he's got so much effort. Can you imagine when he plays 38 games for Celtic next season? I mean, it's going to be brilliant. And
I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah, and I think like you said there about Maeda, I think he's totally the Ange type of player. Like I don't know if Giakoumakis is, but what Giakoumakis is he's a totally different option. And hopefully what Giakoumakis is doing is something that Ange is enjoying as well. But yeah, for Maeda, I mean, he's been absolutely brilliant, Russell. I mean, what more can you say about him? I mean, I think in terms of next season, I think we'll be looking to strengthen more in the defensive areas than we will be in the attacking areas.
Yes.
Somewhat for me, now I want to get your thoughts on this as well.
Okay.
Because we're going to head into the Champions League qualifiers. No, not the qualifiers, the group stages. Now, potentially we are playing Tottenham, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and all these teams, right? So for me, I'm looking at left back as an option for Greg Taylor. Now I know Greg's been he's been brilliant, but I think in terms of if you go that step up in quality, I think we've seen it when we played against Barcelona and Bayern in the Champions League under Brendan Rodgers. I mean, obviously, we had people like that, Toyan and things, but I think I think when you go a step up in quality, you need to bring in that as well. And I think the big bonus for us is that we've got £40 million in the bank if we do win that.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing is with Celtic, we keep referring to we don't stop and all this, but that also has to reflect on the board as well. My biggest concern is it's the same characters upstairs that there was that overseen a shit show.
Now, I know we didn't speak about this beforehand, but I want to get your thoughts on the interview done by Celtic on Friday by Dermot Desmond.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a load of shite. I think it's really patronising. I think he's treating the supporters as if I felt a wee bit like, you think I'm thick. That's generally the vibe I got. Like, you think I'm stupid, mate.
Yeah.
Like, it's transparent what he's doing, and the thing is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I don't need to. You know what I mean? They don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything, right? It's as simple as that. And I'm not trying to get into their studios and stuff. You know what I mean? I think we need to tell the truth here. Dermot Desmond's came out from a position of strength and basically went, good boys, Aren't we doing a wonderful job? Last season, we were begging, we were desperate for some leadership, for some authority, for someone in a position of power to come out and tell us what the fuck is going on, basically. Peter Lawwell ends up doing a staged, pre-rehearsed bullshit interview with Jerry McCulloch that actually just pissed me off. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was annoying. And this time round, we beat Rangers. He had a wee tick box list, right? And he ticked out, like, mention liquidation, tick. That'll get them all on side. I think we've seen past that now. The reason that we've ended up talking about the Dermot Desmond interview is because, obviously, Celtic's board, it's a case of, if we get this league title over the line, I'm convinced we will, by the way. I'm convinced we will. It's now over to you guys. That's what we'll be saying. That's what we as fans and Ange says. Over to you. Because we've done our bit. We can't do any more. We've all put on the united front, even though during that time of amazingness and elation, you were trying to get Higgins in the door on the fly. You know, stuff like that. You know, that guy's an absolute scoundrel. Hated by fans. And yet, Ange just still managed to keep all the glue together. I just feel it's very much a case now, Reegan, of over to you. What are you bringing to the party? Because there's £40 million. There's a list of targets. See, if I was Ange Postecoglou, all I'd be saying is, go get them and don't fuck around.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a different view on this. I actually hated the interview so much. I mean, the whole thing of the whole thing about I spoke to Ange and he said in the world of the claimers, I would walk 500 miles and I'd walk 500 more. That's a lot of rubbish.
Anyone who believes that will believe anything. If you believe that he said that, you believe anything.
And then he was talking about, we had to give Neil Lennon time and support. Yeah, not when you're 18 points behind. Like, come on. And then another thing we was talking about was, we kept all our best players and we done this and we done that. No, I totally get that. But now I'm going to defend Neil Lennon. Neil Lennon told you. Neil Lennon said he told he told the board in the club that people were unhappy. And for Dermot Desmond to come out and talk about Rangers as well, it just for me it lacks a bit of dignity, a bit of class.
It did, mate. It did. And I think, honestly, as I say, I just think he's completely underestimating the intelligence levels and the knowledge that Celtic fans have of the whole situation as a whole. We are not to be pandered to. We don't just jump up and down all giddy because he called them liquidated. We're not that stupid. It's just pandering bullshit that I think he's underestimating. He's not reading the room very well, Reegan, is he?
No, I mean Dermot Desmond spoke also about Celtic obviously winning the league, right? But the big thing that worries me also is that he also said things like, what's important to get back to the top. So is he only concentrating on getting back to the top of the Scottish Premiership? Is that all he's worried about? Because for me, I think if you're Celtic, what is the point of getting into the group stages and only wanting to basically topple Rangers? Because for me, that's a negative attitude.
Slow mindset, isn't it?
I mean, you look at clubs like RB Leipzig or even smaller clubs in England. They've got bigger mentalities than Celtic. Look at a club like West Ham. Now, West Ham are on English terms are a crap club that they've got David Moyes, who does a great job on a small budget, But you're trying to tell me that the David Moyes thought when they walked through the door that they would get West Ham to a European semi-final or a quarter-final? Come on.
I know.
You need to be. I think what David Moyes does, though, he shows what can be done, and that's the biggest thing they'll hold a club like West Ham back as well, is their board. They've got no ambition, and for me, that's the problem with us only focusing on Rangers. I
totally get it.
I don't want to bring this up, but you look at, for example, at Rangers, they've beat Borussia Dortmund, they've beat Bayer Leverkusen, they've beat Benfica. you know, when are we going to wake up and say, right, we want to make a stamp on European football? We want to do our best in there? Because at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry, but for me, it's not all about being St Johnstone at Celtic Park. It's all about Celtic winning the league and then saying, right, we want to try and improve this club and
Yeah.
make it grow forward. And that's why I think sometimes maybe Dominic Mackay would have been a good appointment, because he spoke about Bournemouth, he spoke about Benfica, he spoke about similar clubs. That's why I think Ange is probably the perfect man, because he's probably looking around Europe and going, like, who can we emulate? Who can... But I think as soon as Ange goes, that all goes up in flames, and I don't think that's good for a club. That's not good for a club that you've got that small-minded mentality. You know what I mean? This is a club that appointed Neil Warren when he was having a shower after the Scottish Cup final. People need to remember this stuff, and it still rankles with me that Peter Lovell was doing a press conference to people at Clyde One and Go Radio and saying, "Oh, well, this is our man. We've always wanted Neil to come back." You're like, what is the point? What is the objective? You know,
It's very strange. I mean, what it was a massive downgrade. Now, the massive downgrade occurred when Brendan Rodgers obviously was the guy who left. Whoever was following his footsteps was likely to be some sort of downgrade. We just didn't expect, and it's not. This isn't a personal attack on Lenny, by the way. Just there's chalk and cheese and levels of ability. The guy had been released from contract, if you want to call it that, by Hibs. He had been released from Bolton, sacked by Bolton. That's nowhere near the credentials to suddenly be Celtic manager, despite the fact he'd had a good spell with us previously. He left. Now, what happened was Brendan Rodgers got sick and tired of the exact mindset you're talking about, Reegan. And I think it came to a head where he was looking at players to compete in the Champions League, like Castagne, Piccini, and he felt they would actually come in and compete, help Celtic compete. Because remember, under Rodgers, we recorded our first ever Champions League away win, 3-0 in Anderlecht. And I think that was a glimpse into what could happen. A glimpse. And he's saying, right, guys, you've turned over £100 million in my first 2 years. It's summer number 3 now. And I'm asking you for 2 targets that, yes, will cost you a bit of money. 9 million for Castagne. I think it was 6-7 million for Piccini at the time was the quoted price. And also get me the best player in Scotland, John McGinn. 2.8 million. I don't think these are unrealistic demands, guys. I think these are fair requests. 2 ambitious signings that will have resale value, that will get better because they're working under fucking Rodgers. And it'll probably enhance your chances of qualifying for the Champions League, and you'll get all the money back anyway. Right? That was the mindset. And once we get into the Champions League, why not make a last 16 and get another 5 million quid? Whatever it may be, and enhance the reputation of the club. That's where we went wrong. We reneged on the 2 deals from Italy. We failed to get John McGinn over £300,000. And then we throw, in my opinion, looking back, we throw Brendan Rodgers under the bus, Reegan. And we have made out he's this complete rat, etc. I think the warning signs, he'd actually made them already. He talked about Terminado. And we all know he's an egotistical bastard and was going to be drawn by the English Premier League. But my honest hunch is he would rather have left at the end of that season as well, not mid-season. But if you don't want to play ball with a guy of the abilities of Brendan Rodgers, when you're lucky to have him, basically, I don't want to blow smoke up his arse, but it's the truth. And he's brought you hundreds of success, and yet you're still failing him in the transfer window. I'm sorry. These guys have a limit. And once, folk could say the first team that blinked at him, he couldn't wait. I don't think it was quite as straightforward as that.
no.
I think it became that way. It became a far easier decision for him because Celtic refused basic backing. They cannot afford this summer, Reegan, to make the same mistake.
No, Brendan Rodgers got an offer from China before he left to Leicester. He got an offer from the Chinese.
The one he told Dembele he was taking him with.
Yes. He got an offer from China. I know that from a journalist that does one of these shows. But I mean, it's just for me, it's the mentality of the club that needs to grow up.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, like, I'll give you an example. I know it's the Premier League, but look at someone like Klopp, right? Klopp's got the best 4 forwards in the league. And what did he do? Spurs was trying to buy Diaz. They went, hold on a minute. We are going to go in for this guy because we know he's one of the best players in Europe. what Liverpool said, no, we're not buying we're not buying any players in January. But then Luis Diaz was available, and they went, right, there you go, 50 million, there you go, off you go.
Totally.
And that's the mentality you need to have. Liverpool knew that Spurs were going to come in, and Spurs could rival them. They went, hold on a minute, and this is where, from a position of strength, we need to grow. From a position of strength, over the last couple of years, Celtic have fallen, you know, and let's be honest with ourselves, Russell. I can agree with the mentality that you had. Obviously, Rangers were going to win the odd title, but I think when we went into last year, as much as we thought we're keeping all of our best players here, I don't know if it was the best option to, to have them all here, because you look at Edward. Edward was he didn't look as if he tried. You look at Fraser. You look at Fraser Foster, who didn't want to come back. I mean, you look at Frank Pong that could come out with his German newspaper interview saying that everybody has a time, everybody has a way. So obviously, everybody in that dressing room was not committed. And you look at it for example, this season. I said to my uncle, who's a big Rangers fan, Rangers will regret not selling Connor Golson last summer, because what has he done? All he's done this season is talk about his contract down south. And what has that done? It's brought unrest to that dressing room.
I agree with that. I think Celtic's one of these teams that's funny because we need to have a business model, Reegan, where player trading is key for us to generate the money. The TV deal that's been negotiated, we all know it's shite. But the reasons, ins and outs for that, we could go on forever. But the fact of the matter is, Celtic make around 2.5 million a year from Sky, okay? They get 2 million if they win the league, maybe 1.5 for finishing second, something like that. So you're looking at a base level 4 to 5 million generated there. What season tickets? 25 million. You really need to be selling every summer one player, one key asset, I think, at least. We've seen it this summer. I mean, there's Terry saying Eddie's sitting on the bench at Pals. Thankfully, it's not our problem what they go do when they go down, although often they've got a release clause as well, which can generate as a wee bit extra money. But we're talking about Kieran Tierney maybe going to Real Madrid. Moussa Dembele was tipped for a big move, although I think it's went a bit quiet on that front now. But yeah, those wee 10% are always going to come in handy. We've seen it with Van Dijk. We actually sold Van Dijk for £20 million. Folks just don't think of it like that. But we sold it for 13 million. And then when he went to Liverpool for 75, we got 7.5 of that. So that actually took that deal. We sold him for more than £20 million. I'm comfortable with that being Celtic, But whilst we demand top dollar for our players, and I still think, by the way, we could squeeze a bit more at these teams. Kieran Tierney to me at 25 million. 25 million in England is fucking nothing, Regan. Absolute buttons. We have seen terrible players go for more money in that league. Diallo sitting on that bench at Rangers right now cost Man United 40. I mean, it's like that's the reality of where money is now. So Celtic, whilst we know we need to generate money by selling players, one of the other key ways of making revenue is getting into the Champions League. Now, Brown Warriors made a couple of points. He's putting the negative slant on it. And I love a bit of debate, by the way. I love this. So I'll bring up Brown Warren. He's always on. It's good to have you with us this Sunday, mate. Costs at Celtic went up over 45% under Rodgers. That may well be true. What was Celtic's turnover the year before Rodgers took over? What was the turnover after 12 months later and the 12 months after that? I'll tell you, we turned over more than £100 million those 2 years. What did we turn over in Ronnie Dyler's second season? Be interesting to know. I wouldn't think a lot. I certainly don't think it was 45% of costs going up. Would be overly over the amount that we actually made more in turnover. Sorry, I'm sounding like an idiot now. But trust me, I think operational costs are meant to rise when you get an elite manager. And that's the thing. See, if we'd qualified 3 years in a row in the Champions League, none of it would matter because turnover's way more than 45% increased under Brendan Rodgers. That's the attitude we need to have. Brown, for me, we can't keep looking at, but this costs money and that's a big problem. I don't want Celtic wildly spending, but you have to in business at times speculate to accumulate. It's just a fact.
See exactly what you're saying there, Russell. I bet you that's what every Celtic manager gets so frustrated at, because they feel the same way that me and you feel, right? Because what's the point of Ange putting all his hard work into this, and getting us 40 million quid, and then I'm going, right, you can get a second rate guy from the German second league, or you can get someone that is not as good from here. What we need to do is we need to, of course, balance the books, but we need to have a bit of ambition. We need to grow up as a club. That's what I'm basically saying. You know, obviously, people are still going to buy the season tickets. Are still going to buy into the manager. But what I'm saying is, from the boardroom level, we need. I think basically what I'm saying is, Celtic need to learn from the past mistakes that they've made, because what is the point of saying, right, we'll accept that we can have Greg to the left back because he'll do a job in the SPFL. We need to. I'm going to use Ajax again. You look at Ajax, right?
Yeah.
Now Ajax spend a little bit of money, but what they
do.
But what they also do is they sell players from when they need to. But what Ange has done, and what I think he will do at Celtic, is he knows exactly who he's going to get, and I think that's part of the problem that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
We've got no forward planning, Russell.
Reegan, remember when we signed Edward? I'll go back to this. The Browns still saying, did elite managers make it to knockout stages? Who's made the Champions League full stop since Rodgers left, Brown Warrior? That's the question that you should be asking, because we've been in the qualifiers every year since he left. We've never even made it since. He got there 2 years out of 2 and then was refused. I thought valid efforts at signings to try and enhance it, because getting in the Champions League was getting harder, not easier, recent history has told us. So I think the negative angle towards Rodgers stuff here is madness. He came in and was paid top dollar. He's still in the top 10 highest compensation packages ever for a manager. £9 million we got. Rodgers paid for himself. Make no mistake about it. Celtic did not buy in to a man who had a plan. I believe Ange has a plan. I think Ange needs to get the same, not the same backing, completely different way of backing than what Brendan Rodgers did come season 3. Albeit, I think he was backed initially and stuff, but undoubtedly, after about 18, 24 months, that changed. Now, Liverpool spent 300 million. This is irrelevant, mate. It's irrelevant what Liverpool did under Rodgers. The fact is, we brought him in. Celtic were thriving as a club again. They turned over 100 million 2 years in a row, whether we like to admit it or not. We qualified for the Champions League 2 years in a row, and Celtic bottled it. It's got nothing to do what he did at Liverpool. It's completely irrelevant.
But I mean, you look at that, for example, Russell, that second year when we won the league, Brendan Rodgers once again had near Beaton playing at centre back. Like, we need to forward plan. O'Connell as well. Yeah, that's what I mean. We need to say, right, as much as it's good to be ahead of Rangers, we want to take Celtic to new levels and see them back at European quarterfinals, because people might not like it, but what Rangers are doing in Europe has been brilliant for them, and it's got us into the position that we're in. Well, let's be honest and say, well, if Rangers didn't get to have 3 last 16 qualifications in the last couple of years, this Champions League opportunity may not have been available.
No, I think that's absolutely fair. Now, the positive spin, because I know it sounds like we're being monies here, and we don't like to do that on a Sunday. I think what we're saying is we've got concerns based on previous years that we might not progress the way we would like to think. However, if we are going to look at history, recent history is January, Reegan. And January window, Celtic deserve credit when when credit is due. Now, this was a vital month for us to get the title challenge that Ange wanted back on. Celtic announced signings had been made. 3. So that meant the second the transfer window was open, 3 new players were available. Now, I don't know about you, Reegan. My memories of January's transfer windows, again, even under someone like Brendan Rodgers, where Ollie Buck signing on the last day, Colin Kazim Richards, Carlton Coles, Tolyans, all these diddies, mate. Now, we seem to have went forward thinking. We've went to Ange, identify the players in advance of the window, and we'll get them in for day one of it. Could that be mirrored in the summer, Reegan? Could we actually start pre-season with all of the new boys that Ange wants, the new bodies in there already in Celtic training gear? That would be exciting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I think what you said there was that Ange likes the forward plan. I mean, I'm sure right now Ange will know, right, if we win these next couple of games, we've got Champions League, and I'm sure right now he's identified who exactly he wants to get in. Because if you look at, you spoke about someone like Brendan Rodgers, and Brown what I was talking there, but Brendan Rodgers won the league, and who did we sign him in January? Jack Henry at 2 minutes to midnight. You know, that's where I think the forward planning for the summer is so vital that Ange will probably know his targets right now, and he'll say, right, well, we'll probably sign Jota on a permanent, we'll probably sign Vickers, and we probably will sign a left back, and maybe sell some players like James McCarthy, and we'll try and bring in somebody else in midfield. That's what I think Ange will be doing right now. And also, Russell, a point that you said on Monday with Jonathan about Joe Hart possibly getting competition as well.
Yep.
I quite like that as well, because no disrespect to Scott Bain, but I think Ange will want to keep every single player on their toes there.
Totally agree with that. I think that's absolutely right, and it's vital. We can't have players that know they're going to play each week, and that's not a disrespect to Joe Hart or because his form's, depreciated in any sort of way. It's not. I just think players, like all walks of life, you need pushed. It's human nature to get complacent if you're constantly being selected for something, or you're constantly being paid your full bonus if it was in your normal job or whatever it may be. You get you lose that couple of percent that I think separates elite teams from the rest. We need Joe Hart to get pushed in the summer. We need someone to come in and go, do you know what, mate? You might have been Flavour of the Month last year, and well done for everything you did, but I'm here to take those gloves off you. I think that's so important. I feel like you were talking earlier on about the left-back situation, Reegan. I completely subscribe to that. I think Greg Taylor will benefit from having real competition in that position. I think it's fair to say Liam Scales is not for Ange. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's his boy. That's just my opinion. I mean, he's 23 now, 24. I think it's quite obvious that he's not going to make it under Ange for whatever reason. Maybe I'll just not have been one of his signings. That's fine. But I think goalkeeper, left back, these are areas, and as we say, if Ange has already identified these positions, and maybe other areas of the park he's identified, maybe he wants a striker to compete with Giakoumakis, that may well be high on his agenda, considering we ripped up Lee Griffith's contract, never really replaced him. I know Johnny Kenny joined, but I'm not sure where he features next year, if it's more further down the line that he's been looked at. But what I would say is, as long as Ange has identified his targets, given them to the board, and the board are proactively working on them now, today, I'll be quite content with that. Even if we don't get some of them over the line, as long as we're going all out to support our manager, all out to be early bells in the business, because for me, I don't think there's much doubt in my mind, Reegan, no doubt in my mind, that Ange Postecoglou will already have been submitting player suggestions to this board. This guy's too clued up. He's 3 steps ahead, mate. There's no way he's leaving it to the end of the season to see if we win the league and go, it's the summer. Right, who do I want to sign? I already think he'll be firing shortlists to that board right now. It's up to them to deliver big time.
Yeah, and it's like you said there, Russell, as well. They need to deliver for this guy, because
yes,
see if they don't deliver, I'm telling you, Ange's the kind of guy that will walk out on him. Ange's the kind of guy that will go, I've got you 40 million quid and you're not backing me. See you later, pal.
I think that's spot on. And you know what? Ange also could be looking at them, Reegan, a wee bit and going, you owe me anyway, you bastards. Remember those 60,000 that all were screaming for all yous to leave? Not heard much of that recently, have you? Why? Because of me. So you owe me, guys, big time. And see those 3 trophies in the cabinet? Fingers crossed. See those 3 trophies in the cabinet? Who would have been able to have done that? Eddie, how would have got you that? No
way.
I have done it all myself. So you boys better step up. That's how I think the conversation would be going. If I was Postecoglou, if only, but if I was Postecoglou, that's how I'd be leading my negotiations with the board in the summer. I'd be playing a wee bit of emotional blackmail on the bastards. I really would.
Yeah, I mean, he is in a totally great position because you look at it, he's in a position where he wants to be in, but a position where he can like be in the position where he can say to himself, right, this board need to back me because if they don't, then they're definitely in big trouble because what more can I do for them? What more could I possibly done? I've come in, every single supporter is buying into me. You know, they love my training, they love everything that I'm doing, they love the way I act towards the media. Everybody will be snapping up their season tickets. Everybody will be buying their Kyogo tops in the summer. They'll be doing whatever. So he'll be saying, "I've done everything possible for you, so you need to do the same to me."
Aye, absolutely. I think he's got them over a barrel big time because the thing is as well, I've touched on this before, but I mean, Ange came in. He's not got a head of recruitment. He's not got all these merry men that Eddie Howe was bringing up, you know, the 20s plus number of coaching staff that he was taking. I think he was bringing his nanny up. I don't know who else he was bringing, but it was getting embarrassing. What we found, Ange Postecoglou, what we found with Postecoglou is what we found with Postecoglou is Michael McDonald. I've not even done an Ange impression, have I?
Kyogo.
He does do that. I don't know why Michael's having a pop. You wind your neck right in, Michael. This is a fun bus on a Sunday without you being all boring in the background, putting full stops, calling me a cockney. I'm only kidding, by the way. But I just think right now you're looking at a situation where Ange has done it all on his own. No head of recruitment. Here's the question, I'll put it to you, that I asked on the Double Doon show. Who's Celtic's assistant manager? You don't know. No one does.
I'm going to ask you a question, which I quite enjoy.
Okay.
I quite enjoy that Stephen McManus has got a big effect on this team because he's a guy that has been through the mill with Celtic. You know, I grew up watching Stephen McManus. I was in the stadium when he scored that great Champions League goal as well, and he'll know what it takes to get the best out of these players as well. And also the fact that he's been there so long as well. And when Celtic scored that second goal yesterday, it probably wasn't obvious to people watching on Celtic TV. But as soon as Celtic scored that second goal, Steve McManus called over Joe Hart and called over McGregor, I think it was, spoke to the two of them and said something to them. So clearly, Steve McManus has got a big impact on this squad as well.
But you not think it's quite incredible? The reason I asked that, I was being a wee bit mischievous, right? Because the reason I ask it is because no one genuinely knows. Ange's made zero fuss over this. Now, I actually felt for Lennon a wee bit, could I just say, at times, and I'd made the argument that, do you know what? He was forced a backroom team on him. And he was. I said, no manager should have that.
Yeah, I'm going to put it a different way, but do you not think that it shows Neil Lennon up a little bit that Ange's got these folk to buy into him right away? Do you not think that it shows up? It shows up Neil Lennon a little bit that everyone was slagging Kennedy, was slagging Strachan, and now Strachan's getting a new 2 or 3 year contract. So it just shows you that maybe it was Neil Lennon. He's not like, I mean, you look at Ange, right? Ange is hands on. I've watched podcasts with Bolton players that said that Neil Lennon was always 10 minutes late for training.
In the pub and that.
And they always
loved
to go down the pub every single night. I think Ange is like total. He's a perfectionist. He wants everything done so well. Like he wants you to buy into what he does. You know, I don't think you would Well, I'm not saying this a bad way, but I don't think the stuff that get out with Neil Lennon will get out with Ange Postecoglou, and I think that shows maybe the differences between Ange and Neil Lennon.
Absolutely. There's huge differences, mate. And this is called elite management now. You're going into levels, mate. There's levels. Managers, two jobs. One, obviously, is to get results on the pitch. But I think one of their main responsibilities as managers, obviously everyone talks about how important recruitment is, but what the real noticeable thing that both Brendan Rodgers did and Ange Postecoglou already has done is improve the players that are there. Can you do that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ange's got a style. He's got the personality. But in terms of Neil Lennon, right? All Neil Lennon's got is the reaction nature of telling players, right, you go out there and you do it. I mean, I listened to a podcast with Joe Edley, and Joe was basically saying that the players are just told go out and do it, and you'll win the game. What Ange will do is Ange will tell you exactly what he wants you to improve on. I mean, I'm going back to Brendan. Every single time you go back to Brendan, Brendan was saying, "Oh, when we go down to 10 men, we've got this structure, and we've got this."
Ibrox, mate. Remember at Ibrox?
Yeah.
We go down to 10 men, and it's Graham Murray. I think it was Graham Murray was in charge at Rangers. Graham Murray, you legend, mate. He's welcome in the Bhoycie bus anytime. I'm due my pint. Anyway, Graham Murray is he's getting at this, trying to get the players choose. We're the team that's went down to 10 men, and Rodgers is doing all this stuff like that. So calm, he doesn't even look at Simonovic is going off. He's too busy orchestrating something on the pitch. Now, I feel like I've done a wee bit of a Brendan Rodgers loving today, but generally, I think that's how Ange would react as well.
I'm not just saying this because of Ange, but you look at Ange when he's been in difficult situations, he doesn't give much away to the players either. He keeps himself nice and calm. I think that's part of the problem with Neil Lennon as well. I'm not saying that the Antonio Conte approach doesn't work, because it does, but what I'm saying is that you look at Ange the way he is, he's quite mischievous as well, Russell, and that he lets the players go and do all the work, but he's also got stuff to say to them as well, because they know from Monday to Friday what to do. And I listened to a player that also said that Neil Lennon goes in on the Thursday ready for the Friday and the game on the Saturday. What obviously they were basically saying is because Neil Lennon knew that's the kind of thing that Martin O'Neill did. Martin O'Neill.
Do you know what though, Reegan? Now, give some kudos to Neil Lennon. Joe Ledley's interview. Joe Ledley also says Neil Lennon's the best manager he ever played under. Right? Joe Ledley.
I do.
There's a generation that is the difference. Neil Lennon was, when he was manager of Celtic first time round, caught the last era you'll ever see, or the last generation, the last type of players that could be motivated by getting grabbed by the scruff of the neck and getting slapped in the cheeks and just told to go out and do it. That's changed in the last 10 years. Like, no other era's changed in football for me so dramatically as what it has in the last 10 years. That overcoaching, everything's about people's welfare and all this shit, which is great to a point. But the days of being able to shout to motivate, the days of, I think Neil Lennon was on the dying embers of that era when he was in charge first time round. And I think guys like Samaras was like, right then, mate, sound, you shout at me like that and watch me go. Give me that captain's armband and all. And I think there was Scott Brown, for example. Neil Lennon undoubtedly made Scott Brown a better player. That goes without saying. Scott Brown was on his way out under Tony Mowbray, I think people forget.
Yep,
and he made him captain. Neil Lennon made him captain because he's seen characteristics in Scott Brown that, do you know what, are not now high on the agenda for a modern manager. The characteristics were the main reason that Neil Lennon knew he could get a tune out of someone like Scott Brown, right? I believe now that is the least of your priorities when you're looking for a footballer. It's all about their technical ability. We were talking earlier on today about the profile of player that Ange Postecoglou likes, the work rate, the effort, the kilometres covered, the fitness levels. These now come first. So Neil Lennon, first time round, was perfect for that group of players. Neil Lennon, second time round, tried to do the same thing as he did first time and found out that oh damn, that word was good.
Is it mythology?
Sound like that, mate. Sound like that. Methodology. I can't say it. However, that had unfortunately passed its sell-by date. And second time round, his I still can't say it. Methodology. Thank you, Bruce. I think that is what I was trying to say, Bruce. Thank you. I think guys like Edward were so far removed from Samaras. Even Samaras was a maverick player, but he needed to rock it up his arse. The same way Edward did.
Yeah,
but the ways to do that had changed so much from Lenny's first spell to his second spell that I do feel he was just left behind a wee bit. So that's me actually paying tribute to him, by the way, because I will always say that first spell when Lennon was in charge, my favourite season we've never won the league was the season 2010-11. We smashed them 3-0 at Celtic Park. Izagiri was like Bobby Carlos. What a game. And that I was saying this to Del on his show, the Celtic Sports Pod. It was brilliant. Chat with Del midweek. And if he's watching, hail, mate. And I was saying to Del, that was the game where Celtic Park was actually shaking. And I really felt that the song, I Just Can't Get Enough, that was the first time I remember that coming to the fore. That was all under Neil Lennon first time round. It's just the fact is the methods of Lennon 2010 did not have the same impact nor effect in 2020, 21, whatever it is. That's just a generational thing. Now, Reegan, we're going to move on from gushing about Ange Postecoglou because it feels like it's all we do. Notable mentions to Neil Lennon and Brendan Rodgers today as well. Congratulations, lads. You have all made the cut. But we've had quite a few comments coming in talking about Player of the Year. It is getting near that time. That is the round robin of fixtures completed in the SPFL. 33 games played now, Reegan. Only 5 remaining. We are in touching distance of the title. We don't care about any other clubs' players of the year. Who are Celtic's, Reegan? I want to know who you're going for first and foremost. I want a long, expanded reason as to why, and then I want the notable mentions.
You
have to pick one.
I think you've just sprung this on me, but I'm going. I'm going to go for McGregor.
McGregor. Why?
Yes. Because for me, no one. If you say that you thought wholeheartedly that we'd win the league, then fair play to you. But I genuinely thought we had a chance. I didn't think we would win the league, but simply because of the points gap and the mess that we Celtic were in. And also what I would say to Callum as well is his first time as captain, the first season that he's been around as captain. Also, Russell, the fact that every single player that's come in, Russell, he's had to show them what Celtic's about, buy them into the cause and explain, look, we were so far behind last year, now we're going to go for it. And I think his performances on the park were just been superb. But the biggest thing for me as well was that when we played Alloa, it was a bad tackle with Barry Ferguson's team, right? I think everybody with a Celtic persuasion totally gets that, right? But what I would say is, I think a lot of players who were McGregor on that moment, a lot of players would take 2 months out. A lot of players would go, I'm not going to play for the next 2 or 3 months. I think Callum McGregor was back within 2 weeks of that, because 2 weeks after that game, we had the 3-0 game at Ibrox, and people were saying, I don't think Callum McGregor will play and Kyogo won't play. So I think Rangers will be happy with that.
Well, I think it's hard to pick one out, right? I really do. It's just that it's been good debate. I've seen it in the chat. I've not brought up every comment today, as always. There's far too many. Daniel Malley makes an interest, but he says picking the player of the year is like picking your favourite song, your favourite sex position. It's impossible, and I get, I get it though. I think this year we have been blessed with so many. But what I didn't want you to do was sit in the fence, Reegan. So fair play to you because you've picked your man. I'm going to tell you, and I get it. I'm going to tell you mine. And no one will agree with it. It's Kyogo, mate. Kyogo is the player of the year.
Oh.
Doesn't matter if he's been 3 months out. Celtic were on choppy waters in the first half of the season, guided by one. He was the go-to man. But Celtic weren't playing well. See, if it wasn't for Kyogo, we are so many more points behind. Doesn't matter about form come the turn of the year. Even if we'd went on this same run that we have since the turn of the year, the same form, we'd have been too far behind. Kyogo was such a game changer for us that first half of the season. I also want to talk about other reason is the impact he's clearly had on the fans. I'm sorry, Jota was out for 2 months at one point, right? There's been other, obviously, players that have been absolutely sensational this year. The ovation Kyogo got. He even had O's before he came on the pitch. He has the magic dust, mate. He is sparkling in that Celtic team. He is, for me, because the second half of this season, for me, has very much been the team's on fire, mate. Let's be completely honest. Right. But he did it when the team wasn't on fire, and he dragged us at times. No Kyogo, no party. For me, he's still my player of the year.
Okay, well, I'll give you this then. I think Kyogo gets the first half of the season. For the second half, it needs to be Giakoumakis. Because I'm telling you right now, Giakoumakis against Dundee, against Dundee United, I think what Giakoumakis has done is probably going unnoticed. I mean, look at when Rangers have been without their top players, they've not been able to cope. And for Celtic to go 2 months without Kyogo and still manage to be 6 points clear is a great achievement, Russell.
Sensational. Chaos Giakoumakis is someone we just can't get enough of on the Bhoycie bus. I like the cut of this guy's jib. This guy is very much in the mould. I just don't feel Celtic's had a player like him for so long. Kevin 14 comes in. Chaos has been brilliant. We need to get the name Chaos trending, by the way, because it works.
I do agree, Kevin, but the fourth choice striker, mate.
Fourth choice striker. What do they know? Indeed, Reegan. I love that. We jibe, mate. Nothing wrong with that. You'll probably have a lawsuit tomorrow for that, but do you know what I mean? That's besmirching. But I think what you'd have to say, Giakoumakis was someone in the first half of the season that was never fit properly. He'd been unwell. He'd had a longer injury. Now, what he has done in the second half of the season is stepped up because Kyogo's absence cannot be underestimated, Reegan. And yet we've been unbeaten domestically since Kyogo got injured, which is frightening to think. I honestly think Chaos has been a massive part of it. And do you know what? The whole team, of course, they all deserve credit. But there's nothing wrong sometimes with just having a wee moment and individually picking the odd one out. Why has Chaos been so impressive to you?
Because for me, he's a totally different option, and what he does is you can clearly see how much it means to him, and also I think he offers us a totally different option. Because if you look at the game against Dundee and the game against Ross County, I don't think that Kyogo or Maeda score those goals that Giakoumakis does. He puts his body in the line.
He does. What he does is, as well, it's so easy to say, oh, he brings a physical presence. He's a lot more than that. He's a natural goal scorer. Yesterday, I seen Henrik Larsson vibes with Chaos's goal. Don't think I'm comparing the two as players, but I am allowed to compare, though, the goal. Just quickly say this. His anticipation. I've seen Henrik do that so many times. It's unbelievable. Players, looking back to their goals, he smells it a mile away. He's going to shite himself here. Now, don't get me wrong. Maeda's pressing forces the issue. But Chaos reads the situation, anticipates it, and then from a difficult angle. The ball's already crossing that line. He's not even thought about it. It was such a natural finish to him. We've not had, again, someone who... And don't get me wrong, Kyogo did a lot of one-time finishes as well during his sensational first half of this season. But I don't think he's actually a natural number 9. I don't think that was ever his position before. Giakoumakis is a bona fide pedigree striker. It's great to have this option. And I think he'll be the ace in the pack for our European hopes next year as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm right in saying that Scott McDonald said on STV that basically if Giakoumakis didn't get relegated last year, it would have been £12 million. Is that right, Russell?
That's right. It would have been 12 million was his release clause, but because he got relegated, £2.6 million we got him for.
I mean, that is fantastic business from Ange Postecoglou to get a guy like that, and I think it just shows you that. I know a lot of people said they didn't know Ange, but clearly people have clearly bought into this guy, and I'm just hopefully Celtic can do it for the next 5 games, which I think they will.
But me too. I think because Kerr makes a great point here. Chaos looks absolutely gutted when he goes down yesterday. Fingers crossed all is okay. He's a natural goal-getter now. I did think Ange kind of put me a wee bit more at ease because he sort of played it down and said he thinks it was a strain. But I think you're right. What is refreshing about the fact he's been injured is the fact he walks off, he's shaking his head. He's gutted, Reegan, isn't he? And I love to see that. So often in modern day football, players to me, they can't wait to do all this push. They can't wait to get taken off. He looked like a guy going, no, I don't want to be leaving. I don't want to go. He's shaking his head the whole way down. And what we do know about him as well is he's no shite bag. This guy's made the strong stuff. If he's in pain, he's feeling it. It's fact. I think that is absolutely the truth. And I liked the fact he was frustrated at going off Reegan.
I mean, to me, I think he's got so much drive and personality and determination as well, because you look at him, I think if you're Giakoumakis, I think somebody in the press asked him about Kyogo, but he basically said, look, Kyogo's my teammate. I'm just looking to help the team, and I'm just looking to do the best for the team to get us the title. I think what Celtic have got in Giakoumakis is a team player.
Sack him. He's getting sacked in the morning.
Yeah, I mean,
Was that your agent? Was that your agent?
No, it wasn't, Russell. Sorry about that.
That's right.
But I think what Celtic have got is a very good structure that every single forward that is in that squad wants to be in there, and it's totally different from the last couple of years. And like you said, I think he'll do very well in Champions League, because if you look at Champions League, Giakoumakis, he can hold the ball up well, he can score goals. I think he's the perfect player that we need.
I think he gives us such a different dimension in Europe. Celtic at times have been too nice. Giakoumakis brings, I think, a lot to the party in terms of, I think it's channeled aggression, but he brings, so I don't just mean like, the physicality of his style of play. I actually think his mindset, I think he's up for it. He's wanting a wee bit of war. He's a bit like, a throwback to, I don't think he's as good as Sutton. Sutton was one of my favourite players of all time, though. But I think what Sutton used to do in Europe was bully defenders. And again, it's all about setting the tone from the front. Now, Sutton's got these guys. He's asking so many questions of defenders, whether it be, I'll beat you in the air for the ball, I want to back into you and hold you off when it comes to get the ball, I'll put in a late challenge on you like Giakoumakis did with Ryan Jack. I think this in Europe will be brilliant for Celtic. Celtic need a wee bit more of a nasty streak at times, I think, in Europe, Reegan. I think, actually, over the past decade or so, we have lacked that streetwise know-how. Sometimes you need to have a bit of that. You need to have a bit of the devil in you, mate. I think Giakoumakis has that in spades. I'm quite excited to see the impact he could make on a European level for Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm just taking you back to someone like Edward or Lee Griffiths. Their work rate is not as good as Giakoumakis or Maeda or Kyogo. I think that's why people don't give us credit for the time against Bayer Leverkusen at the start of the season, because what Kyogo did and what the forward players did there, they just never gave them a moment to sit back or to take their time. Well, I think
Totally.
a player like Edward is he's kind of laid back, I'll see what I can do.
Easy Ozzy, mate. Easy Ozzy. Ian comes in, and we'll make this the final wee comment of the day because it's been around 50 minutes. There's 85 watching live right now, which outstanding for a Sunday afternoon.
Guys.
Thank you to each and every one of you, and all. We love it. Now, Ian at Green and White 1, sporting a Bhoycie Bus t-shirt. I've got to remind you of that in his avatar. You know it, mate. Yes. And he says, hopefully, Chaos is fit for next week, as I think they wouldn't fancy coming up against them again. I totally subscribe to that, even though he's not scored against them yet. And by the way, when he does, that tap's coming off. I can assure you, Giakoumakis will have it planned. He'll have the top off swinging it. But I believe that he has brought, again, in the last 2 games, albeit we haven't, he's not scored. I think he has been a complete game changer in the fixture. To think they've still yet to face Kyogo playing through the middle as well, potentially at some point. But have they been able to deal with Giakoumakis so far? Has he been one of the main, if not the main factor, in the fact we've won our last 2 Old Firm derbies? He's got a 100% record on them, Reegan.
Yeah, because I think Conor Golson and Balogun, they hated to play him at Celtic Park. You know, a lot of people in the press, or obviously your radio station, were saying about Kyogo's a big miss. But I think Giakoumakis on that night proved to every Celtic fan that he was a totally good option, and we could trust him to go into such a very good occasion. Because, I mean, as much as he didn't score, he probably should have scored 2 that game. And then last week, what he did, I mean, he just got in Ryan Jack's head the full time, and then I think he done very well with the ball. He was obviously a big threat to the Rangers back 4 all day as well. And sometimes when they're in these big games, it's not about skill. Sometimes it's about grinding the scoreline out, because sometimes it's very difficult. Because you look at that game last week, Celtic for the last 20 minutes, the last 30 minutes, were kind of defending and putting their bodies on the line. I think when you're involved in a tussle like that, Giakoumakis is the perfect guy to be involved in that. You know,
totally.
A bit of battle, a bit of fight, a bit of aggression totally suits him.
Well, Reegan, we will leave it on that note, talking about one of our favourite sons, Chaos Giakoumakis. I understand you're going to the boozer this afternoon, so I don't want to stop you from doing that, mate. I don't want to get in the way of you going to the pub, mate, right? So we will finish up there. What an afternoon on the Bhoycie Bus, though. The first ever Sunday Blether with Reegan Stevenson. We're going to get Reegan to host it next week if he's up for that. Are you up for that, Reegan?
I will be. Celtic are playing the next Sunday against Rangers, so
we'll do it in the morning.
I'll definitely be on before that.
Aye, we'll do it in the morning, mate. And as I say, you could be the host. I'll come on as your guest, mate. You host it. You dictate the show. I think it'll be brilliant, and it gives a wee different sort of vibe. I've loved the banter with you today, mate. I really have. I think it's been brilliant fun. We're going to say thanks, as always, to fanboyfootball.com. Please check out the site for the T-shirts. Ian at Green and White 1 has been sporting a couple of them on the social medias recently. If you have bought one, make sure you send me a photo. Give me some feedback, because I know people are loving them right now. All that's left for me to say, Reegan, is have a brilliant time at the boozer. I am jealous. This has been the Bhoycie Bus, a Celtic Sunday Blether. I'll see you all later.
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now, and you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan.